everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the Mortal Realms and Age of Sigmar. Yes, we are back once more with Ogors. Yes, the all-new Ogor Mawtribes. We have the new Tyrant here. The Games Workshop very kindly sent me early as part of the new Ogor Mawtribes Army Set. And, well, I'm excited to paint this one. I think this is a fabulous miniature. It's gorgeous. So we're going to jump in and we're going to do exactly that. Starting now. So, it's been primed in Wraithbone. And the colour we're going to be using first is Creed Camo. We're going to be applying this over the top of his trousers. Nice and simple to kick things off. So with that Creed Camo all applied, we actually applied it over that little cable tie that's back up here as well. But what we're going to do next is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Cygor Brown. We're going to apply this over top of all the leather details. Now, this is going to include that red glove on his right hand as well. But what it's not going to include is the wraps and things. So with that all done, our next colour is going to be some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of this little cover here on the sort of sword. And we're going to apply this over top of his hair. And so with that all done, it is now time to take a roughly 2 parts Guilliman Flesh to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the ogre's skin. With all of that Guilliman Flesh and Lahmian Medium applied, we are now going to take some Flesh Tearers Red. Now we're not going to be doing all the red details just yet, but what we are going to be doing is we're going to be applying this over top of all of the sort of remaining like bandages and wraps and grips and things like that. So we've got one here on the sword, one on the 2 big cleavers tyrant's weapons, and there's one on the hook on his back as well. With that Flesh Tearers Red all applied, we are now going to take some Targor Rageshade, and we're going to apply this over top of all the rocks. Now we've got some rock here in the hammer, naturally, but we do have a couple of little rocks around his neck that we're also going to apply this over the top of. And so with that Targor Rageshade all applied and dry, we are then going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to apply this over the top. But what we're also going to do with the Agrax Earthshade is we're going to apply this over the top of the two little thin bones that he's got as earrings. So with that all done, it's time to do metallics. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. And we're going to apply this over top of, well, the silver details. So most of this stuff is silver. It's all the armour, including the bits on his arms and stuff like that. And it's all the weapons. However, there is some very nice sort of shiny brassy goodness which we're also going to do. For now, just got to get this on. With all of that Iron Warriors applied all the way around the model, as you can see, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Balthasar Gold. We're going to apply this over top of all the remaining details. And so with that all done, we're now going to shade him. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with some Targor Rageshade. And we're going to apply this over the top of all the silver and all the Balthasar Gold. With all that Targor Rageshade applied, it's still drying at the moment, but what we're going to do next is we're going to take some Coelia Greenshade and we're going to apply this over the top of his trousers. With that Coelia Greenshade applied, we actually did also apply over the top of the tassel as well. I keep forgetting that. But what we're going to do next is we're going to take some Berserker Bloodshade and we're going to thin this down so 4 parts water to 1 part Berserker Bloodshade. And we're going to use this as almost like a filter / glaze over the top of all of the skin. So with those shades all applied, our Ogre Tyrant is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. He's looking pretty good. However, we're not going to leave him there. No, we're going to take him to the next level. We're going to do this by adding some layers and some highlights. So we're actually going to start with the metallics here. And the colour we're going to be using first is some thinned down Brass Scorpion. And we're going to use this to relayer the brass. But what we want to do here is we want to avoid anywhere where the shade has really settled. So we actually want this to be reasonably shiny, but kind of pockmarked. With all that Brass Scorpion applied, we're then going to make a glaze with some Incubi Darkness. So we're going to take some Incubi Darkness, I'm going to thin it down with roughly sort of 4 or 5 parts water, and over the top of the boss pole stuff, we're going to apply this like so, up to around about there like that. Then we're going to wash the brush. touch off the water, and then we're just going to sort of casually blend that in just a little bit by just sort of feathering away at the transition like so. You can also use this to add, should you want to, a little bit of kind of dark verdigris around some of the rivets and things in the brass. Like that. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Canoptek Alloy, and we're going to use this to highlight all the brass. So with that all done, we are now going to move on to the silver, where we're going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. I'm going to use this over the top of the flat sections of his tummy armor, but only his tummy armor, because the rest of it, again, we want it to be quite dark. And so with that tummy armor relayered, what we're now going to do is we're going to highlight all the silver with some thinned down Ironbreaker. So with all of those metallics now finished, well, almost, what we're going to do next is we're actually just going to move on to the next colour before we do our red fist, which is we're going to take some thinned down Gorthor Brown. I'm going to use this to highlight the Cygor Brown. And with that Gorthor Brown now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Flesh Terrors Red. And we're going to apply this over top of his hand. Down here. Like so. We're then going to apply this over top of the glove as well. Like this, coming up to around about the elbow. Like that. And then we're also going to apply this over top of the silver as well. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is wash the brush, touch off the water, and we're just going to do a really shallow little blend. Like that. So with that all done, we've actually completed a huge amount of the model already. So what we're going to do is move on to our next biggest colour, which is going to be all of his flesh. And for this, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. And what we're going to do is we're going to thin it down just a little bit more than we would normally. 2 or 3 parts water to 1 part Flayed One Flesh. So it's not quite a glaze, but it is that little bit thinner. We're basically just going to use this to sort of re-brighten all the skin, just avoiding all the recesses. With that Flayed One Flesh all applied, we are then going to take a little bit of Berserker Bloodshade once more. And what we're going to do is we'll very carefully apply this in just a couple of key areas. So we're looking to apply this over top of the eyes and the bottom eyelids, like that. We're looking to apply this over top of his nose. Like so. And we're also looking to apply this over top of his bottom lip and over the top of the inside of his mouth. And with that Berserker Bloodshade now applied, we then take a teensy tiny little bit of Black Legion and we can apply this over top of his eyeballs. And with that Black Legion all applied, we then want to take a teensy tiny little dot of Screaming Skull and we're going to apply this in the corners of the eyeballs. Like that, but we're also going to use this to pick out his teeth and highlight his earrings. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Word Bearer's Red and we're going to use this to paint in the little blood-shaped tattoos on the body. So what we want to do is we want to take our Word Bearer's Red and starting along this kind of large kind of crease in his flesh, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a little teardrop. Like that. And then we block it in. Like so. Then we're going to come along here. I'm going to draw a slightly bigger one. Like that. And then right up on the shoulder, I'm going to draw a slightly bigger one. Like this. I'm going to continue this around. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. With that Word Bearer's Red all applied, what we're then going to do is take some Reikland Fleshshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the tattoos. Like that. But what we're also going to do is going to apply this Reikland Fleshshade over the top of the grips of the weapons. And this is mostly so that we can create some separation between the red of the gauntlet and the red of the grip. Whilst we wait for that Reikland Fleshshade to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone and use this to highlight the black details. And with those black details all highlighted, we then take some thinned down Strachan Green and we use this to highlight his trousers and the tassel. With that all done, we are now going to take some thinned down Evil Sun Scarlet. And what we're going to do with Evil Sun Scarlet is a couple of things. So, around the outside of the tattoos, what we want to do is we want to kind of make them irregular. So we're just going to do these little kind of wiggly highlights. Like that sort of thing. But we're also going to use this to highlight the red. And finally, to finish him off, if you want to make him, and this is kind of optional here, if you want to make these look a little bit more like fresh blood paint, we're going to take some blood for the blood god, and just around the middle of the drops, we'll give the impression that it's kind of a little bit still wet by just dropping this very carefully inside, like so. And there we have it. Our base was done in very, very traditional way around here. Sterling mud, dry brush with Tyrant skull. But our... fitting, right? Tyrant. Our Ogre Tyrant is now finished. I really enjoyed painting this one. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous model. It's really fun to do. And actually, it's pretty quick to do as well, which is surprising for a model of this mass. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.